So for today class, we will do revision on chapter 1 for biology, which is the organization of plant tissue and growth. So this topic is quite confusing for beginners because there's a lot of new information that you're going to learn, right? So for plant tissue, first of all, you have to understand, right? We What is a tissue? A tissue, right, is actually in the hierarchy. If you remember, right, the first thing that will happen is actually a cell, right? And then that cell, if you combine more, it become a tissue. And then if you combine more, you become an organ. Okay, and then if you combine more, you become a system. And then if you combine all of them, you become an organism. Okay, organism. So we are on this topic here. Okay, we are on this topic here. So we are going to learn both the cell and also the tissue. We are not going to learn the organ yet. Okay, the organ will be for later. So the first Form 5 syllabus, all right, we will cover the plants part of it. Okay, so the first thing that we cover is actually the plant tissue. So plant tissue are separated into two tissue, right? Meristemic tissue and also permanent tissue. Okay, and all you need to know, right? Meristemic tissue, it is for young plant. So if they So that's all lah. That's the meaning. Young plant. Meanwhile, for permanent tissue is permanent. Common sense lah, right? And meristemic tissue are split into two, apical and lateral. So if I were to draw a diagram lah, right, it will be like this, So if you have a tree, right? If you have a tree, it can only grow in certain way, right? It can only go upwards and also left, right, and also down. Right is opposite lah, right? But there is only a certain way that they can grow. And today we're going to learn how they actually grow and what is the function of some cell that we're going to learn today. And also in the permanent tissue, there's three tissue that you have to know: epidermal tissue, ground tissue, and vascular tissue. To say the least, epidermal tissue, right, is the layer on the top of the surface of the leaf. If you have a leaf, right, you were to cut it, right, this layer on top is the epidermal tissue. Okay, epidermal tissue. But to give an example, right, our skin also have, our skin. What did we have? The top layer is epithelia, epithelia. I don't know how to spell that, right? Is this layer as well. So this is the same tissue actually, same tissue but different plant, different cell. So this one is plant cell, this one animal cell. So we are going to learn epidermal tissue, the top layer, right? We are going to learn the top layer. Be careful, the top layer. We are going to learn the ground tissue or the chema family here. And later I'm going to explain how they look like and how like you can easily understand, see? And the vascular tissue. Vascular tissue, very easy. You already learned this in lower form and also in the primary school. Xylem and phloem. So to say the least, right, epidermal tissue is the top layer, right? The top layer of a plant, right? So the top layer of the plant, there is a few things that you have to know first. There's cuticle, there's guard cell, and also root hair cell, right? But all of these, right, are actually a cell, a specialized cell. What do I mean by that? So later on, you're going to learn, right, how the top layer have a lot of different cell living on it. For example, the cuticle. What is a cuticle? Cuticle, right? If you were to like have the diagram, right? The diagram, the cuticle will be the outer layer. Okay, is the outer layer, and this layer is very waxy. If you look at the plant lah, right, in real life lah, right, sometime, right, after like the morning, right, they look very shiny, very glossy. That's because of the cuticle. And there's also guard cell. The guard cell and the guard cell, right, is all on the bottom layer of the leaf. So the leaf, there's two sides, right? The leaf, there's two sides. Like if you were to draw like this, right? The leaf on the bottom side, this is where the guard cell is. Okay? Don't worry, if you don't understand what is guard cell, later I'm going to explain. But for now, you have to understand where they are located at. Okay? Cuticle are located at the top. The guard cell are located at the bottom. Okay, so far understand, right? We are learning the way they structured, right? Now, if you were to, and ground tissue is there, right? But if you were to look carefully into the way that they are structured, if you were to use a microscope, right, we can actually see a pattern here. Okay, so follow me here. So I draw a diagram, I draw a diagram, and in this diagram, right, okay, first of all, you can see there's a giant thing here, right? Giant thing, right? So Because right, yes, my student have an answer. I wonder why guard cell at the bottom. Later, I will have the answer for that. Don't worry, it's very easy actually. Now, if you see this diagram here, if you see this diagram, right, there's an actual like high definition diagram lah, but I don't know how to draw it, right? But so first of all, there's also the collenchyma and the parenchyma family, right? If you remember the ground tissue, right? And where they are located at. Okay, where they are located at. So you have to know where most of them are. If you were to cut a leaf, right? Cut a leaf, and then you were to have the cross section of it, right? Cross section of it, you will have this thing here. Okay, you will have this thing. Of course, it's more like more in depth, right? So you have this cross section. So, sorry, my mistake. It's not the cross section on the leaf. It's the cross section of the root, the root. If you were to have the root, right, it's the cross section of that one. Yeah, if you were to cut this into that one, right, you will have this thing here, and most of that is this also. So this one can be applied anywhere, right? And later on you're gonna learn, right? Later on you're gonna learn the chyma family. The chyma family is the ground tissue, and most of them have different function and characteristic, which a lot of students is say lah is very hard to memorize because there's a lot of things to memorize, right? If you look at this notes here, right? This note here, parenchyma. There's how many notes? There is 5 of them. That's a lot. This already 4 of them. Ayo, and this already 4 of them. So to make it easier, right? To make it easier, it's better for you to see this diagram first. See this diagram first, and then label which one is which one. So the layer outside, follow me. The layer outside, right? This one here. Let me use this one. The layer outside, that is epidermal. Okay, that is epidermal. Simple so far, right? The layer inside, after the epidermal, this one, right? This one here, inside this one, this is called collenchyma. This is called collenchyma. Collenchyma is located underneath the epidermal. It's very simple. Just think of it as underneath the epidermal. Okay. So if collenchyma is located underneath the epidermal, later on you're gonna see how we can use that information. Now you understand so far. Now you see this thing here. What is this thing, actually? What is this thing? This thing, right, is actually where the xylem and phloem are located at. So if you were to have a high definition of it, right? Look here. This one is separated into 2 parts, right? 2 parts. That 2 parts, right? The top part here, the yellow color one, right? The one that I just deleted, that is actually phloem. Phloem is the top part, okay? So anything furthest from the center, this is the center, right? Anything furthest from it, this one here, will be phloem. Anything closest to it will be xylem. And if you are to have a question, right? What is the red color thing here? What is that? That is the cambium. Okay, that is the cambium. Those things are separating the thing. And then if you look here, right, I drew some weird thing here, right? I drew some weird here. The weird thing here, right? What is this? This is actually sclerenchyma, sclerenchyma. If you were to have the actual picture, I don't have the picture, right? But it's like there's a lot here. There's a lot here, right? In a group, right? In a group, all behind the vascular bundle here. This is called vascular bundle. Anyway, they are all behind that, right? So this is sclerenchyma. Later on, you're going to see why sclerenchyma is behind these two here. It's behind these two. And then if you were to have your if you were to have the diagram, right? Diagram. This one is my drawing, right? If you were to have the high definition diagram, you can see that the sclerenchyma actually, right, is the same color as the xylem. Later you're gonna know why it's the same color. Now, so far understand, right? And then the last chyma family is parenchyma. Parenchyma is what made 99% of the cell. Look here, all of this empty space is parenchyma. Parenchyma. This is parenchyma. So that's why it is the parenchyma. The way to memorize that is actually like this. Parent. Tada, parent. So that's how you memorize that, right? But parenchyma, it make up all the like most of the cell. So that's parenchyma. Now you have to understand this diagram first, okay, before we can continue on. Now, after that, right? Okay, we already understand, right? The xylem, you have to understand now. The xylem and phloem. What is xylem made of? Xylem is actually made of lignin. It is made of lignin. Lignin. And if you were to ask me, what is lignin? What is lignin? Lignin is dead cell. Dead cell. Okay, dead cell. Now, whenever you mention lignin lah, right, in a question, okay, in a question, like they ask you describe the characteristic of xylem, okay, you can say made of lignin, okay, and then they ask what is the function of it, right? So lignin, it always pair, the answer always pair with providing mechanical support. That's all. If you see lignin, it's mechanical support. Very simple. So lignin always provide mechanical support. Now, just now, right, I said this one here. What's mechanical support? Mechanical support, right, is like this. If you were to have the tree, right, if you were to the tree, very skinny tree, right, very skinny tree, and then some wind push it, right, wind blow it, right, this would tumble the tree, right, the tree will tumble, right. So mechanical support actually will make it so that it can withstand the tree. And when you have higher mechanical support, instead of the tree being like this, the tree will actually be like this. See, the tree will actually be like this. It's thicker. Basically, it's thicker, lah, right? So, and also the thicker, right? The thicker it is, right? The more xylem it has. See, you see how I'm connecting the dots here? Just now I said lignin. It provides mechanical support. If you have mechanical support, the tree will get bigger. The diameter will get thicker. So that's the function of lignin. You have to mention mechanical support. It's very easy to understand. Mechanical support. Whenever you hear lignin, mechanical support. And just now I said sclerenchyma, the thing located at the top of this, right? I said the color is like very dark, it's the same color as this xylem here. Why? Because it also have lignin. See, it also have lignin. So that means you can use that as your answer as well. If they ask you, what is the function of sclerenchyma? Yeah lah, it provide mechanical support as well. Tada. Very simple actually, very simple. So far, very understandable, right? Now, collenchyma and the parenchyma. Parenchyma, right, for you to understand, look here. So parenchyma is the simplest and the tiniest cell wall. Why? Why? Just now I said 99% of it, right, is most not 99 probably like 98 right? I don't know, right? Most of it is parenchyma, right? Parenchyma, it has to be the simplest one lah. Or S, right? Or S. Imagine the cell will be weird, it will be looking weird. So parenchyma is that one. And there's also going to be another way for you to memorize the function. Later I'm going to explain, right? But so far the diagram, you have to understand the diagram, okay? And then collenchyma, okay? Collenchyma, if you see here, right? If you see here, look at this diagram. Let's look at this diagram. First of all, you know the layer of the outside, right? The layer outside is epidermal, right? Of course, that one right? And collenchyma is the layer inside. It should be what? It should be durable lah. It should actually be durable. Or else, right, the tree cannot hold itself lah. Common sense, come on. Think about it. So that's why collenchyma, the characteristic, right? It will be a bit thicker. Okay, a bit thicker than the parenchyma. Okay, a bit thicker than the parenchyma. But why did I not say it's the thickest? Okay, why did I not say it's the thickest cell? Because think about it logically. Logically, what is the function? Okay, if you were a baby plant, okay, let me draw a flower. Flower is not a baby plant, right? If you were a baby plant, right, what you want to be? You want to be a tree. For you to be a tree, you have to grow, right? You have to big, right? You have to grow lateral and also apical, right? So you have to grow. But imagine if you were to grow, right? But your how to say this? Your skin. Imagine you are human, right? Imagine your skin are preventing you from growing. So you cannot grow anymore lah. You cannot. You will be stuck here forever. So you'll be small, like a certain friend of mine, right? So you'll be very small. So that's why collenchyma, it has thick wall. Yes, it has thick wall, but you cannot call it thickest. Don't call it thickest because there's one who's actually very thick. Here, sclerenchyma. See, lignin. Whenever you hear lignin, lignin is what? Dead cell. Okay, dead cell. And for some reason, lignin is very, very powerful. It's very durable as well. It's very durable. So that's why it's the thickest. It's the thickest. Okay, it's the thickest. So if I were to say lignin is thickest, right? Then that means that will apply to xylem, right? Because why? Xylem is also made of lignin, right? And yes, you are correct. Xylem is also very thick. Very thick. So now, so far I understand, right? So far very easy to understand. Yeah, sclerenchyma is the same thing here. See, thicker cell wall. I told you. And for you to memorize this, there's an easier way to memorize this. Actually, all ground tissue. You can answer this like in the SPM lah, right? Provide mechanical support. All, no matter what, parenchyma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma, all provide mechanical support. That's the easier way to memorize. Okay, but it's better for you to understand this diagram. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one, the cell growth. Of course lah, we are talking about cell growth, right? From the small baby human lah, right? Not human, but tree lah, right? Now, cell growth. There's two types of cell growth, apical and lateral lah, right? But for now, we're going to focus on the apical. Okay, apical. What is the meaning of apical again? Okay, apical, I forgot to explain. Okay, this is in the meristemic cell, right? Just now I said it's the meristemic cell. Right, meristemic. Apical means the tip. Okay, the tip. So if I were to say apical root, that means is the root tip. See, that's very simple. So just think of it as tip. Okay, think of it as tip. So meristemic, there's two, which is apical. The last one is also lateral. Okay, lateral. But we will not. Later we're going to talk about it. But for now, is apical. Apical is tip. Okay, tip. For example, you see here. What is this? This is a shoot tip, right? This is a shoot tip. So if I were to say this will become apical shoot. Apical shoot. You can use the same meaning here. Now, look here, right? Look here. In cell growth, right? There's actually there's zone. They are zone where it can happen. It's not going to fully happen. It's not going to fully grow in 1 second, right? No, there's tiers. There is process happening, right? Of course, not all will happen at the same time, right? So there's three things that will happen first. The first thing that will happen, right, is cell division will happen first, okay? And then the cell elongation, okay? Okay, based on this, the name, right? Elongation. Elongation means longer. Okay, make it longer. So from this already, you know lah, it want to be longer. And then cell differentiation is the last tier. What is differentiation? You learn this in form 4 already. Differentiation, right? Differentiation. To say it simply, right? You want to make a cell become specialized. Okay, specialized. That's all. That's all. You want to make a cell become specialized. For example, you have epidermal, right? Just now I talked about epidermal, right? Epidermal cell, right? Epidermal cell. Did you know? This can actually be specialized. It can undergo differentiation. Okay, differentiation. By the way, don't confuse differentiation, right, with the math symbol dy dx. Okay, don't confuse that. Don't confuse. That is not differentiation. Okay, this is the different differentiation. Okay, so anyway, epidermal cell, right, can actually undergo differentiation to become what? Gut cell. To become what? To become cuticle. See, it's very simple actually. Just now we learned this, right? We learned this epidermal tissue and also epidermal cell, right? It can become cuticle cell and gut cell. So that's why we're going to learn differentiation. Differentiation. So that's why. Actually, that is the reason, right? That is the reason why I said that's not right. Just now I said in a leaf, right? On a leaf, right? The top part, right? The top part is epidermal, right? Epidermal. So if epidermal is here, right? If epidermal is here, then what is also here? Gut cell. See? Gut cell. And then just now I said, right? The bottom part, right? The bottom part is contain what is it? Sorry. Gut cell is not here. This cuticle. Sorry. Cuticle is the top one, right? And then the gut cell is on the bottom, right? But I said, isn't epidermal only can happen to gut cell? Does that mean the bottom of the leaf also have epidermal? The answer is yes. Yeah. There is two epidermal tissue that you will learn, which is the upper epidermis and also the lower epidermis. But that is for chapter 2. Very easy lah, very easy. Common sense. Use common sense. Okay. So that's why you learn cuticle and gut cell. They are, to say in like a simple form lah, right? To say it simply lah, right? Just think of cuticles and gut cell as the baby of epidermis tissue. Okay. Just think of it as the baby. Okay. So far very easy, right? Now let me explain this cell growth here. This is for the shoot, right? This is for the shoot. So just now I said, the first thing that will happen for the cell growth is cell division. Cell division. Okay, it is the top part. The top part here. This will happen cell division. And cell division, whenever you hear division, mitosis. Okay, mitosis. So mitosis, I don't think I need to explain, right? It's when a cell it divide into two cells. Okay, two cells. And just to confirm something like that, it's not meiosis. It's not meiosis. Meiosis is for gamete. Okay, gamete. Or in other words, the reproductive reproductive system only, right? This is not meiosis, it's mitosis. Okay, yeah, like sperm, for example. I don't think I need to explain this part because you can just use common cell lah. They will divide and then they will continue growing lah, right? And then those things that grow, right? Those things that grow, how does it make it this thing longer? How does it elongate? How does it elongate actually? Okay, the way I write here is confusing, right? So let me draw a diagram here. So if you were to have, if you were to have a cell wall, right? You have to have cell wall, and then you have a lot of like a vacuole, small vacuole. Okay, small vacuole. Imagine this vacuole, right? All of these have water. Okay, imagine all of these have water. Okay, all of these have water. Did you know vacuole can combine? It can combine. Why can okay, it can combine like, it can combine into a bigger vacuole. This is a vacuole as well. Okay, vacuole. But it also contains water. Did you know it can combine? And it can combine through a process called vacuolation. Vacuolation. Okay? You have to understand these terms here because sometimes they use that, right? Vacuolation. So, what will happen with all the water that just got combined? It actually what happened, right? You know water, right? Water, how can it enter vacuole? If you remember, it entered through osmosis, right? Osmosis. It diffused to the wall through osmosis. Now imagine there's a lot of water now suddenly. Suddenly, because all the small amount of water, right? All the small vacuole, right? Combined into a big one. Now there's a lot of water at once. All the water, right, will exert pressure on the cell wall. It will basically push the cell wall. Because why? The water is trying to get out through osmosis, right? So the water will exert pressure on the cell wall. On the cell wall. And what will happen to the cell wall? Of course, the cell wall will be bigger. It will be bigger. Right? It will be bigger. Yeah, it also make it so that it's turgid. Right? Make it so that the cell wall is turgid. So that's how cell elongation happens. Okay? So the key point here, right? If they ask you how to explain the cell elongation, right? The key point here is actually this. The diffused water is a pressure against cell wall pushing it. That's the key word here. Do you need to mention this one here? I mean, like, you can, but this is the main thing that will make it so that it elongate. Okay. Now cell differentiation, the last part here, right? After it elongate, right? Right? Now it want to be specialized. Okay, it want to be specialized. So it will undergo differentiation. Differentiation is the specialization, lah, right? That one you already understand, right? So far, very easy, very understandable, right? Not too confusing. Am I correct? Type yes or no in the chat. Yeah, very understandable, right? Now, there is two types of growth that you have to know. Just now I explained the apical, right? Right? But there is two types of growth, actually, two types of growth. The primary growth, primary growth, primary growth, right? Primary growth only happen for the apical. Apical. So that means technically, right? Technically, this one here is actually primary growth. See, I just explained primary growth to you. So primary growth is only for the apical. Apical. What is the meaning of apical? Only the tip. So if the tip, only the tip can grow, what does it mean? That means primary growth is only for increasing the height. That's the question they like to ask. They ask you, what's the difference between primary growth and the secondary growth? It increase the height. So that is the primary growth. And it only happen after germination. After germination. So what is the meaning of germination? Germination means the spread of the seed from the plant cell. That means, okay, if you use logic lah, if it can only happen after like it gave birth lah, right? To say very simply lah, right? That means primary growth is actually only for younglings. here's another keyword, is only for younglings. So that's why early on, right? Early on in the, like, if you were to watch a video lah of plants growing, right? You can see like it actually grow taller, more faster than it grow bigger, right? It grow taller first and then it start growing bigger. That's why, because only younglings, they will prioritize the primary growth. That's why it's called primary. Primary, utama, the main growth. Okay, the main growth. That's why it's only for younglings, younglings. Now, that is easy. If primary growth is only for the height, that means secondary growth is only for the thickness, right? If you were to have this thick, right, this will be very thick, very thick. So this one is actually secondary growth, okay? Now, secondary growth, it only occurs in eudicots and monocots seed, lah, right? Do you need to know this? No. I mean, like, yes, lah, but this is like too much, lah. Now it's like confusing, right? So just know it only happen in eudicots and monocots, lah, right? But the main key point here is actually like to increase the diameter of the plant. Okay, that's the meaning of it. So if you look here, right? If you look here, there is this thing here, right? This is the cross section of this thing here. If you have to leave, right? If you were to cut this leaf, right? This is the cross section. Yeah, that's what you will see. So to explain secondary growth, right? Let me explain in the terms of the word first, right? So now you see here, right? You see here. This is a vascular cambium, right? Vascular cambium. The line here, right? The line here is a vascular cambium. And then this dot here, not dot lah, like teardrop shape lah, right? This is the xylem and phloem. Remember? Xylem and phloem. So, if that is xylem and phloem, right? Xylem and phloem, sorry. What will happen for them to grow? For them to grow. This one you have to understand, right? It will try to grow inward and outward. This thing here, focus here, this thing here will try to grow outward and inward. Why? Why? Because if you remember the cross section of this, right? The cross section of it, the one that I explained, right? There is this thing here, right? What is this thing called? Cambium, right? Don't forget it's cambium. But the front part facing towards the center, what is it? It is the xylem, right? This is xylem. This part here that is facing away from the center, this is the phloem. Okay, phloem. You have to understand this diagram first, right? Now, the reason they grow towards and also away is because the direction they are facing. That's all. It's very simple. The direction they are facing. Phloem, you look at phloem lah. Look at phloem. Think of phloem as a face lah, right? As a face. Okay? As a face. So they will grow towards this side here. Common sense. They will just grow towards the direction they are facing lah, right? But the way to explain this, right, is confusing. Later we saw a video on YouTube lah, right? By a guy. Don't worry, I will credit this guy lah, right? But that guy also so very simple. Now, if you look to look here, right? If you were to look here, right? Oh, sorry, no need lah. Now look here. Ignore the other part here. Ignore the other part. But look here. There is this thing here. What is the green color thing? The green color is the cambium, right? The cambium, vascular cambium, is it? Yeah, vascular cambium. This thing is the vascular cambium. So far, understand. Now this thing here, this is the thing that I just draw. This thing here, but except it look sharper, because it is sharper a bit. Like, yeah, see, it's like if you were it's like a pizza lah, a pizza. See, it look like a pizza, right? Yeah, you're correct. It look like a pizza. So you have to understand, right? You have to understand. There is two types of vascular sap. Okay, first you learn there's xylem, right? You learn there's xylem, right? There's xylem, and you learn there's phloem, right? Phloem. But did you know? They have two different things as well. The first thing is actually primary xylem. Okay. The second thing is actually secondary xylem. Okay. And then of course, if this have these two here, that means this also can apply here. That means there's primary phloem and also secondary phloem. Okay, so far I understand, right? But what is the difference between primary and secondary? Okay. All you need to know, primary, utama, right? Utama. Primary means the oldest one. The oldest one. Okay. Secondary is the newer one. Of course, common sense. But you have to remember this oldest one. Why is that important? Look here. If you were to see this one, right? If you were to see this, Not this pin. Yeah. If you were to see this, right? If you were to see this, have a this thing here, right? And then there's this thing here, right? Now, this is the where this thing here. What is this thing here? This is xylem, right? Xylem. But what xylem is this? What xylem is this? This xylem is actually the primary. Okay, primary. I'm just gonna write one as the primary. Okay, that is the primary xylem. So far, simple. I'm not adding the secondary. Okay, this one is the primary phloem. Okay, so far understand. Now, if you were to grow it, right? If you were to grow it, imagine if you were to grow, right? They will grow this way and this way, right? This way and this way. So you can imagine this. You can imagine this as this thing here. Look here, this thing here, right? This thing, the cambium here, the one that I'm highlighting, right? This one here. Imagine it as the ground. Okay, imagine it as the ground, and then you imagine, like for example, flower. How we grow? How it grow? If you put a seed here, right? A seed, it will grow upward, right? Right, it will grow upward from the ground, right? It will grow from the ground, right? And then it will grow outward for the root, right? From the ground as well. So why am I saying this? Because most people do not understand or like forget, right? Forget that it will grow from this thing here. It will grow from this thing here. It does not grow from this thing. It does not. It grows from this thing here. Okay, it grows from this thing here. So if you were to grow, right? So this is the xylem. Remember, this is the xylem. X, this will be the P, right? So if you were to grow, right, it will be growing, right? Growing. It will grow. Okay, it will grow. Actually, no, that's wrong. Let me draw a bigger one. That is right. Now, it will grow from the center, right? So, from the center. So where it will grow? Not from here. It will grow from here. So what does it mean? It will grow from here. It will grow from here. Let me do like that. See, this is the thing that is growing. Okay, the thing that I'm covering here. So what is this thing here? Just now I said this is the xylem, right? The primary xylem. Yes, yes, you are correct. It will push the primary outwards. Outwards. It will pull the primary outward. So this is the primary xylem, right? The outside one. You hear the outside one, right? This is the secondary xylem. So the xylem, right, will actually push it. You know why? Okay, imagine, right? Imagine it's growing, right? It's growing. Do you think it will have space to grow? No lah, right? So that's why it will push this thing here. It will push this thing here so that it can grow fully. It can grow fully. See, understand, right? So that's why it will push it. It will push the primary xylem forward. Okay. So far, understand. Very easy, lah, right? Very easy. And you can apply that concept to the phloem as well. Now imagine this is the primary phloem, right? The primary is always the imagine this, right? The primary is this one, right? This is primary phloem. Now it will grow from where? Not from here. Not from here. That is wrong. It will grow from here. And look here, does it have enough space here? No, right? So that's why it will push the thing further, okay? So that it can grow more, okay? And just remember, the key point here, right? The key point here that they like to ask, right? They like to ask, they ask, label the diagram, label the diagram. And you have to label which one is the primary, which one is the secondary phloem or xylem, okay? All you need to know, right? This outer one is the primary, okay? The primary. So this one will be yeah. Now, just in case you guys are still confused, I have a video here. Let me show the video. Okay, this one here. It's a clay mason. It's a clay mason. No. Okay. Wait for the ad. Go. Now, this is the clay mason for the secondary growth. Later I will let's do this. Yeah. See here. Okay, they are labeling all of them, right? Now you can see here. This yellow, this green, this orange thing, right? This orange thing. What is that? That is the cambium. Okay, the cambium. And the blue color is the xylem. The green color is the phloem. Sorry, the opposite. Sorry, the green color is the phloem. The blue color is the phloem. Xylem, phloem. Yes, xylem, phloem, cambium. This is cambium. Look here. The cambium is expanding. See, and now it form a cambium vascular. Vascular cambium. This thing, a circle, this thing, right? This is called the vascular cambium. Just now, right? If it's a one thing, yeah, a cambium ring. Yeah, that's the name lah. If it's a one thing, it is a cambium. But if it's a full circle, is a cambium ring or the vascular cambium. I forgot which one, right? But so far it's right? Understandable. Now look here. Cambium ring, correct. Now look here. Just now, what happened? You look here, right? This one. Look at the primary xylem here. Primary phloem here. See, they form another layer here. This layer is the secondary phloem and the secondary xylem. Look, the green layer here, the circle here, that is the primary xylem. Secondary xylem. The blue color here, the layer here, that is the secondary phloem. And then it continue growing. Look, see, right? See, more layer, more layer. And tada, that's how it works. And then of course, I'm going to continue growing, right? Like common sense, it continue to grow, and then it will form the bark of the tree. So simple to understand, right? Simple to understand. So far, do you understand? It's very easy to understand. Okay. Now, do you understand the video? Just now I saw. It's very easy, right? So now let's move on to the next part, the growth curve. The growth curve is very easy. It's very easy to understand. Follow me, Just now we learned the growth cycle, right? The cell growth, right? Now there's a growth curve. The growth curve. The growth curve here. That means you're gonna see a curve. Common sense a curve for different plants. Okay, plants can be separated into three parts. Three plants actually. Annual plants. Okay, annual plants, biennial plants, and also perennial plant. I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know. I just call it biennial. Biennial. Anyway, annual. What is the meaning of annual? Annual means 1 year lah. Per year lah, right? So that means it has only one life cycle. One life cycle. What is the meaning of life cycle again? Life cycle means after it go, and then it will come back. Okay? It will go lah, it will die. So life cycle means it only have one life cycle. Okay? That's the meaning lah, right? And then if you look this graph, right, at this graph, this is the dry mass. Okay, dry mass means the mass of the plants, right, without water. Basically, they calculate the mass of the plants without water, right? Later you will understand why we not calculating the water. And then this is the week. Okay, this is the week. So if you were to analyze this diagram, right, to make it easier, imagine the plants at week 0. Okay, week 0. What is the meaning? That means the plants is very small, right? Is the maybe like the first few days, right? Very small. So you can see here, it goes down. The germination, right? The dry mass, the dry mass goes down, right? Why? Why? Because the plants is using the food stored in the body, right? Dry mass. Dry mass what? Is the mass, total mass combining all the thing inside the plant's body without the water. And what does it include? Starch. Yes, it also includes starch. So imagine it used starch, right? Not starch. Starch or glucose. It's glucose, right? Imagine it use the glucose, right, to grow itself. So that's why the dry mass is going down. It's going down because why? It's using the food to grow itself. And then you can see it grows up, right? Why? Because the plant is growing lah. The plant is growing. Imagine, right? This is the plant, right? I know lah, that's fake lah, right? Look here. It goes to this one, right? So do you think the mass will go up? Of course lah. It will go up. Come on lah, common sense. Right. So that's why the dry mass will go up. Right? Grow up. And then why it fall down here? Because remember, this is the annual one, right? Annual. So after this, it already die. Old age. See? Matured. It's already matured. So it will die now. See? Very simple. And then the plants that you have to know, you have to memorize this, is watermelon, paddy, and pumpkin. Okay? Watermelon, paddy, and pumpkin. Now, biennial plants. Biennial plants, bi. Okay? Bi. So for me, this is how I imagine. Biannual. This is how I see like biannual. So probably I probably should say biannual, but it's biennial. The way spell is like this. So yeah, that's why I call it biennial. Anyway, bi. That means 2 life cycle. 2 life cycle meanings there's 2 years. Okay, 2 years. Okay, 2 years. Look here. Look here. It's very simple. You can apply the same concept here. Now, the first week, right? The first week, it goes down. Why? Because it's using the food to grow itself, right? That's why the dry mass is also growing, right? Growing. It's getting taller and bigger. Now, it also go down again. Remember, this is by biennial, biennial. It doesn't mean this is dying, It means that this thing here, is also doing the same thing, germination. Why, Why? Because remember, biennial, right? Biennial plants, there is 2 seasons. Okay, 2 seasons. That means during the season, summer or that one, right? It will use all the glucose from what I know, lah, right? Glucose and the thing to germinate again. Okay, to germinate again. So that it can like spread its seed lah for reproduction. See? For reproduction. Yeah. So that's why it using this energy, using this mass here to spread, right? And then this one go up again, of course, because germination, it will use that one. And this one, the C, past the point C, it will die because of what? Old age. Okay. And I forgot to mention, right? I forgot to mention this curve, right? This curve here, this curve. What is it? What's this curve called? This curve is called, right? This thing here, right? This thing here. This thing is called sigmoid curve. Okay, sigmoid curve. It's not sigma, it's sigmoid curve. Okay, so that is the sigmoid curve. Now, perennial plants, okay, and also the biennial plants is cabbage, silver cockscomb, and also the carrot. Okay, that is the biennial plants. Now, perennial plants. Perennial plant is more than 2 years. Yeah, more than 2 years, lah, right? So it will be something that you see a lot: grass, mango plant, and hibiscus. Okay, hibiscus. Now, if you were to look at this graph, right? Graph here. Look at this. It is going up. That's all. But if we were to actually look inside, like look carefully, it's actually like going down and up, going down and up, going down and up. See, if you were to draw this properly, right? If you were to use magnifying glass, right, it'll be like this. See, it's going up and down, right? So, what is the meaning of that? Because think about it, perennial plants, plants that live for more than 2 years. More than 2 years. I see. That means there is more season. That's all. There is more season. And if there is more season, there is more germination. That's all. See, it's growing during the spring and summer, and then it stops during the winter. That's all. Common sense, right? Common sense. So, is that all for today? Yes. That's all for today. Do you understand so far? Do you understand so far? It's very easy, right? So what we learned today, right? What we learned today, we learned the plant tissue, the second tier of the cell organization. Sorry, of the cell organization. Is that how you say it? I don't know, right? But we learned the second tier, okay? Which is the tissue. And there is 3 tissue that you have to know: the meristemic tissue, the epithelial tissue, and also the permanent tissue. Okay. Now, we learned that epidermal tissue, right? It's actually very important because it produces cuticle, gut cell, and also root hair cell, right? Very important. And my friend, my student here just asked me, right? Why is the gut cell at the bottom actually? This is a last minute info, right? Why is it at the bottom? Because, right? Because carbon dioxide, okay, carbon dioxide, right? Where it will enter? It will enter to the stoma, okay? Stoma. Right, it will enter to the stoma. Right. Carbon dioxide will enter to the stoma. And where is the stoma located at? At the bottom part of the leaf. Okay, that's all. Very simple. It's not at the top because the stoma, if it's at the top, right, the water will get in as well. Based on my information, that's why. Now, that's all. Okay.